I call David Clark.
Thank you, Mr Chair. Look, Labor does support the measures in this bill, obviously, because we think that it's important to speed up the resolving of disputes in construction contract cases. And if I think back to the meetings I've had with the industry in the time that this bill has been in the Parliament, there is a real desire to solve this issue, and that is regardless of whether those people in the conversations are from the big end of town or the small end of town. I've had two quite separate sets of conversations about this topic, and certainly at the small end of town there is the concern about livelihoods, the concern about the borrowing that has to go on sometimes to sustain businesses and pay employees, and the fairness and justice of the system as it's presented. At the big end of town, there is a concern about the costs of measures that set up protection mechanisms, and the fact that that will be borne by an entire industry, and a concern that that will push up building prices and therefore reduce the amount of activity that goes on in our country. And these are, I think, tensions that sit in the system, and they are legitimate tensions to be debated and to be worked out. And I want to, I guess, congratulate those members who have brought this bill through the House, because it is an issue that needs to be improved upon. As we've seen with Mainzeal, and it's the obvious example that's frequently cited, it is the subcontractors that are hit the hardest, but that doesn't take away from the issue of increasing costs on the industry and where those costs will fall. And it's really important that there are no unintended consequences when the final deal is struck. And I'm aware of some of the conversations that have gone on behind the scenes, the Treasury and the Minister having a few differences of opinion on this and that, and that's healthy, actually. That is the kind of robust debate that we in this Parliament think ought to be happening, and so you know, I am glad that the Minister is having robust discussions, whether I agree with him on every point that he makes or not. I think that in this Parliament we should acknowledge that that good process and good robust debate is essential, and we should also thank the officials who have worked on this and who have argued the principles, because we need a fair solution, and we need a better solution than the one we have now. And we supported the contractors' liens option. That is the favoured approach of the Labor Party, and we worked through with contractors in the industry how they best thought these issues could be addressed, and that is the point that we came to as a party. So we support the fact that this we support the measures in the bill that speed up the resolving of disputes in construction contract cases, because that is something that sorts out the uncertainty and the uncertainty that carries costs. But we want to see more done to make sure that subcontractors don't miss out on the money they are owed when things go wrong. Mr Chair, we need to take action so that the situation we saw in Mainzeal doesn't happen again. And that is where we're coming from when we're discussing this bill and part one where the main action occurs. The principle of making sure that there are speedy mechanisms and that there is something that is fit for purpose for addressing the obvious issues. The second option we considered was the statutory construction trusts, where money would flow through to a trust to ensure subcontractors get paid first should a construction company collapse. And we know that these solutions apply to significant commercial...
Point of order, the Honourable Nixon.
Mr Chairman, I appreciate the contributions that the current member and the previous member are both making about the supplementary order paper that addresses part 2 on the retentions. and the contributions they're making are valuable. I wonder if it would be helpful, so that we can actually debate the bill as one, to take leave for the debate to be on part 1 and 2 together, and then for them to be voted separately on, given that the major retention issues of which members wish to discuss is in part 2.
Yeah, well, that's not a point of order.
Well, it's sick leave.
We'll just... the member has a few seconds remaining if he wishes. Only a few seconds.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
And then if you want to bring forward a point of order, we can handle that then. So, Dr. David Clark.
In the few seconds available to me, I would like to say that I think it is important to have a good, strong debate on part 1. I know that I've got colleagues still wishing to debate that part, but we'll make the call when the Minister puts the leave. Thank you.
Okay. Did you want to do that then?
I was trying to be helpful.
We can now. I'm going to call Dr. Megan Woods.